Hello. It is me, the bee. And I want to ask you a question. Do you read Sutter Kane? John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness. I love this movie. It is not his finest. It's not his most well put together. But as a fan of H.P. Lovecraft, this is undoubtedly one of the finest adaptations of H.P.'s work without actually being official. Now that being said, Carpenter has relentlessly made a point of citing H.P. Lovecraft as one of his inspirations, and it's easy to see why. H.P. is one of the granddaddies of supernatural horror. When it comes to Lovecraft, he isn't content just to talk about witches and demons and vampires. No. H.P. Lovecraft plays for keeps, okay? His version of horror is absolutely incomprehensible to the smallness of the human mind. You have elder gods who are bound to make you insane. You have disgusting substances that no human can possibly identify. All of H.P.'s stuff is eldritch horror at its finest. Now, it's not the first example of cosmic madness, but it is one of the most significant examples of the genre. And within the Mouth of Madness, I am really surprised that John Carpenter has not made a point to adapt more of H.P.'s work, because I think he could be amazing. Now, back in the 90s, this pretty much started the commercial decline of John Carpenter, right? People still knew who he was, they still knew of his work from the past, and he still had himself a respectable fan base. But due to his very unfortunate experiences in Hollywood and the fact that he was constantly being held back and censored and restrained, it really did show in his later work, which is a shame, because John Carpenter is one of the most cleverest filmmakers there are out there. Now, I've noticed a pattern. Most, not all, but most of John Carpenter's work has been met with a lot of criticism upon its release. It is said to be disgusting, reprehensible, pornographic, pervasive, and, all these really sort of mean words that, point back to a notion of repugnance. But here's the thing, Carpenter doesn't believe in following any sort of constraint when it comes to his movies. He actually goes out of his way, for the most part, to do something different, and he puts intellectualism behind it. And in a horror genre, where monsters and, demonic entities like reign supreme, it is always refreshing to see a different take on it. And that is what In the Mouth of Madness does. Not only that, but it very heavily satirizes, what the literary genre can be. The character of Sutter Kane pretty much becomes a messiah. Everything he writes becomes a reality, and every person who reads his work becomes a prophet, so to speak. A prophet of madness, a prophet of murder. And it is through his work that the end of the world happens. Now, this is one of John Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy, as I've mentioned before. The Thing, The Prince of Darkness, and In the Mouth of Madness, all of them deal with end of the world scenarios. In this case, it is through media. Okay, and yeah, it really makes you stop and think about the power of the media and how it affects us. When you look at a piece of work as, say, the Bible, okay, the Bible is the prime example of gaining so many believers and yet attracting so much controversy. There are actually people out there who think the stuff in the Bible is real. Noah's Ark, creation, Exodus, bloody King Herod and all of that, like, the Red Sea parting. People believe this is real, and they will not listen to otherwise. And, we can laugh at this, and we can poke fun, but deep down, that is a very disturbing and very frightening notion. And with Sutter Kane's work In the Mouth of Madness and its extreme power it has over the masses, it's really saying something about our society today. Carpenter is a very astute director. he's not always at his best when it comes to telling a story, but when he is on, he is on. He always has something to say. Well, okay, almost always has something to say. And In the Mouth of Madness is no exception. So, what haven't I said in my review that I can say here? Well, first and foremost, I still think the visual effects in this film are amazing. Okay, there are a couple of moments in which the visuals don't necessarily hold up as well as they should, but it still gets across the idea that Sam Neill's character is completely out of his element. He is drowning in this viscous, sticky sea of madness, and he's trying so hard to clamber his way out of it, but he just can't do it. And that's the thing about this film, it has a sense of immersion. It's not especially scary. Well, I didn't think it was scary, but it has a very definitive sense of tenseness. And one of my favorite sequences is when Sam Neill and Julie Carmen's character come across this satanic church. Well, it's not exactly satanic, but it houses worship of a very different matter. And when you see this church, there is something very eerie about it. It doesn't look natural to the human eye. And once again, it comes back to how H.P. Lovecraft wrote his work. This is stuff that human beings should not see. And when they do see it, they can't make any sense of it. And when you can't make sense of something, you go mad. And the film is littered with these sorts of visuals and motifs. Another one of my favourite motifs in this film is definitely the Pickmans painting in the hotel lobby where Sam Neill and Julie Carmen go to stay during their investigation. Now, if any of you have seen Pickman's model, you will pick up on the what's going on here. But the way that the painting unravels throughout the duration of the movie, and it shows you more and more of what's happening, this is stuff that human beings just are not capable of understanding. Okay, our little minds can only stretch so far, and there's only so much science can explain. And that's what I love about cosmic horror. That's what I love about H.P. Lovecraft. He doesn't strictly fall back on what we know, but he goes to the fear of what we don't know. And that is what In the Mouth of Madness does. It plays with your perceptions. Its mise-en-scène is all about, throwing the audience off guard and constantly making the audience question their thoughts. Am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? Is this real? Is, Sam Neill's character going mad, or am I going mad? Now, I wouldn't necessarily say the film has that sort of power over everyone, because we're not exactly, subject to Sutter Kane's work. But you understand the sensation of, when you get into this world of this movie, that is when it is at its most strongest. Okay. Now, the performances in this movie are pretty damn good. I would have to say Sam Neill is a very underrated actor. Now, when he acts, he has a very sort of naturalistic, means of doing it. Now, when he's working with John Carpenter, he's actually having a lot of fun with it. When Sam Neill has fun with a project, he really shows it. And it's no exception with this movie. Julie Carmen, my God, why hasn't this woman got more work? Okay, she's, not only is she beautiful and she's sensual, but she has an enigmatic sense about her. I could easily see her in a film noir. She's definitely an actress who people don't seem to know what to do with, because she doesn't follow any sort of, a standard as to the traditional sort of Hollywood beauty, but there is no doubt that Julie Carmen has something to her. Okay, she is, damn it. Julie, if you're out there, I hope you get more work. I really do, because you are so great. Where was I going with that? I don't know. Jules Pochnau. Now, I'm not sure if I have actually pronounced that name right, but his Sutter Kane, he is so confident in what he's doing, okay? He knows he's bringing on the end of the world, and you know what? He is totally okay with that, okay? The way he figures it, the way he writes it, this is his design. This is his world. and he is the creator and the destroyer. And yes, he's not in the film very much, but when he does, he makes for a very compelling show. David Warner, once again, another really great character actor who still isn't given as much work as I think he should. Now, obviously, he's an older gentleman now, but whenever he shows up in a movie and that very distinguished voice, his voice has, you know, like tinges of class as well as cynicism and a little bit of the sinister. And it's always a pleasure to see him you know, do his thing, especially when he interacts with Sam Neill in a mental institution. Like, those two have a very good sort of back and forth thing going. Yeah. In The Mouth of Madness, despite its imperfections and the fact that it was bashed upon release once again, I don't know why. You know, when people are looking for a fresh new horror film, and when they get it, they will either be really receptive or they will revile it. Now, there is nothing about In the Mouth of Madness that comes off as terribly offensive. Is it because people don't get it? Is it because it doesn't have, like, liberal splays of, you know, blood and guts and nudity and sensationalism? I don't know. You know, there is a time and a place for everything in horror, okay? I am not saying that gore has no place in the genre. Of course it does. But when you have a film that bothers to be cerebral and doesn't treat its audience as idiots, you know, and it uses sheer imagination and, like, suggestion and that sort of stuff, that sort of stuff should be preserved and honoured. And I'm just really thankful that In the Mouth of Madness has finally found the recognition it so sorely deserves. So I give In the Mouth of Madness a 4 out of 5. Solid viewing. It's Carpenter doing something different. It's Carpenter actually, you know, going outside the box and doing something more than what we have possibly seen. And once again, I really do hope whenever Carpenter comes back, and if he has the energy and the power and the drive to make another film, I really, really hope that he adapts a Lovecraft story. The man has a keen eye for it. So thank you very much for listening to me ramble, guys, and as usual, I shall see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.